Mr. Broadway producer. It's me. I've come back, and man, do I have something I want to pitch to you. Are you ready?
Oh, goodness, yeah. I'll take a little seat.
Thank you. Okay, so hear me out. Opera. Back in the day, bitches loved it. Latin, it was hot. Okay? Nowadays, not as popular, a little bit tedious to sit through. Can you agree?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So hear me out. This generation, they love their TikToks. They love their reels. The short attention spans. You got to be 2 minutes or under. Even that's too much, right? Mm-hmm. What if I told you I created an opera that was about 30 seconds or less per song?
Wow.
About nothingness.
I'm impressed. I'm very That's wild. So how long did you make this before or after you listened to the opera at the Barnes & Noble?
So there's something about when I'm at the Barnes & Noble where I just suddenly am like, I should look at AI generators, because that was when I did the British Man thing.
Yeah.
But Broadway producer, hear me out. So I got a couple of robots to sing some lyrics I wrote. And so the first one, it's all about this podcast. I don't know if you've heard about it, Wonka Watch.
Yeah.
Of course you have. They're so popular.
They're so popular. My kids can't get enough of it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's so wild and weird. I don't understand half the shit they say, but they're gobbling it up like it's turkey.
They put it on in the car while I drive them places.
And I'm going, why are they talking about piss kinks? It's weird, but whatever. There is an explicit warning, so it's not too shocking. But here, I'm going to show you a couple of the songs that I've written. I got a portfolio of about 4 or so here of varying quality. So I figured we'd start off with a song about the podcast itself. Think of this as the quick opener, okay? You've just sat down and you blink and maybe it's done. So if you want to go over, I dropped it off in your folder box.
Okay. So you've dropped an audio file in my folder box.
Yeah, it's a video, technically, of a strange AI man staring in the distance in what looks like an office with a microphone.
Stay With Me by Ed.
So that's the background track, and then you get to write in your lyrics, and then they will sing your lyrics. Get stoked.
Welcome to Wonka Watch, the podcast that talks about all things Wonka. The hosts are related for me, sure. They are silly and mentally ill.
Wow.
I think so. It's about 18 seconds. I think it gets the point across. You know who your hosts are. You know the narrators. You know what's about to go down, right? And then
I like that. And then they're mentally ill. Yeah.
And then you gotta. They talk about this well all the time. The Wonka well. And first off, one of the first AI generators I went to, of varying quality again, they let you do a little tester, and you could either test happy birthday and write in a different name and they'd sing that name, or you could take Let It Go and change 2 of the lines. So Frozen's Let It Go, but make it about the Wonka well. It is now ready for you to listen to.
Okay.
Let it go, let it go. Come fly down the Wonka well. Let it go, let it go. Live your life and slumber don't.
You know what? I'm going to say, I don't think we need to be worried about AI taking over.
No, not at all. That honestly makes me feel so much better because that was flat.
So bad.
A little bit. It was really bad. And I was like, okay, we're going to go back.
That's their showpiece.
That's their showpiece. So then we went back to I went back to the original producers of the other song. And they had a different
VM text a song.
Yes, which genuinely, guys, I had so much fun. You get to choose between a couple different singers. You get to choose your genre. And then it looks like they rotate out the free tracks you can use. There's about 10. A lot of them were holiday themed. Was I tempted to do something with Jingle Bells and make it Wonka well? Yes, I might come back and do that. But we got another Wonka well song that I think might might speak more to the people. So this is
Okay.
song by our favorite.
Wow.
She looks
incredible.
like the evil queen in front of the Sydney Opera House for no reason. So I present to you Wonka Well by Wonka Watch.
Climb down to the strange Wonka Well. You will never escape our heart. This is the Wonka Well.
8 seconds. It gets you. And you might not understand
Wow.
the lyrics if you're listening. It says, climb down to the strange Wonka Well. You will never escape. Ha ha. This is the Wonka Well.
8
It gets to
seconds
the
in
point.
and out.
8 seconds in and out. You're like, oh man, this is perfect. I am following the narrative. And then you have to introduce your evil character. And I think one of our evil characters in our universe is Puppet Wonka. And so we have a good baritone coming in here.
Oh my goodness.
About Puppet Wonka again. It's going to be short.
Break is over by Jerry. This one
Look
says.
at Jerry. Jerry's so intense. He's staring at us. Here we go.
Yeah.
Puppet Wonka must be fed, he must eat your blood. This is how it ends.
And that's the song. Okay.
That's the song.
Wow.
Now, there was one I also tried that was free. That was the best one. I'm just going to show this one to you for shits and gigs. Oh no, I never downloaded it.
Okay. So she's been dropping these videos to me in the Notion, and no joke, she just dropped the largest, most high quality image of Adam Driver Centaur into our
Oh my
thing
God.
that I've ever seen in my fucking life.
You know, it's for the
Why
best.
did you have that at the ready?
Anyway, that's the musical. In short, that's just
Wow.
a sampling, and honestly, the whole thing could be done in 5 minutes.
That's impressive.
And that's what I present. That's the Wonka Watch opera.
I love that so much. But we have to talk about another opera today. Unfortunately, we have to
Aw.
shift focus away from the Wonka Watch opera, and we have to talk
Man.
about the Wonka opera, the Golden Ticket opera. This has been a long time coming, and I'm going to be honest, I'm fucking hyped to talk about it. It did
Which
some
is so
things I
wild.
did not expect.
Because this is the thing. Like, we had talked about
I've
how
never
the
listened
board,
to opera before.
the
so
board
this
game
is-
was something that we had held off doing on the podcast forever. But honestly, the opera, I feel like, at least for me, was something where we're like, dear God, we don't ever want to do this. I don't want to deal with it. I'm over it. And so doing this is freeing.
See, here's the thing. This is an important thing to know going in. Elaine only listened to it. So there is no video recording of this that we know of that we were unable to find. Our lovely listener, Zach Barr, emailed us with a shit ton of information about this. And they provided us with a score so that you can read the lyrics, right? It's freely available on the American Lyric Theater website. You know, check it out. But the thing is Elaine did not read it while I did. So I have a lot of necessary context that reveals, I think, all of the interesting things that this production did that I'm excited to talk about. Meanwhile, Elaine is just sitting here going, I had to listen to them sing about Wonka for an hour. But okay, so that's where we're both coming from. This will be an interesting episode. I think we're going to hash a lot of things out. But before we get into that, we do need to do Wonka Watch, considering we've been recording for 10 minutes.
Perfect.
So this Wonka Watch is there's been a bit of a stir in the online spaces because there was something reported that Timothée Chalamet had auditioned for the lead role in the Gladiator movie.
Oh.
And everybody was getting pissed because they were like, no, you're not going to get it. Right? Like,
He does.
I saw one tweet say the only person he's beating is Finn Wolfhard, and like that was funny. Do you know what I mean? Like and that's funny, you know. His agent then tweeted, I know one of these actors was shooting a film in the Middle East for the past several months, and he hasn't auditioned for anything in more than 7 years. And that's what's got people in a tizzy, because they're like, he's a Nepo baby. I will say, if we do 2023 minus 7, that is 2016, and that's when Call Me By Your Name came out. That could be I don't think it would be shocking if he didn't have to audition for anything after Call Me By Your Name.
Hey, editing Felicia here. Call Me By Your Name came out in 2017. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about here. Just don't listen to me and enjoy the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
I-
Wasn't that kind
that
of
makes
common though?
sense.
Once you get big enough, like it's like almost an insult if they ask you to audition.
So,
kind of thing.
yes. If it was before Call Me By Your Name, it's weird. But if you do 2023 minus 7, that is 2016, even though it doesn't map out chronologically. Numbers wise, it does. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm not trying to defend it, if that is like, but like also what the fuck can I do about it? Like, what am I?
It's just,
like,
it's
what
happening.
I can't. I don't care really.
Hollywood
but
is. You know.
The thing is, that means he didn't audition for Wonka, which isn't surprising. But it just means
I
he
mean,
didn't.
I guess that's fair. I wonder if they did a few like test rounds though, since it is such a like we haven't really seen. That
he might not have auditioned, but he
acting.
might have done a test screening, and they probably met with him to talk about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's
They
nothing.
didn't do the whole thing they did to Christian Bale in Newsies where they signed up and then they were like, actually, it's a musical, psych. And Christian Bale was like, what? Why didn't anyone tell me?
That's very funny.
So he got conned into doing Newsies, the musical, without knowing it was a musical.
So that's our Wonka watch. Doesn't really tell us anything new. I'll be honest, I didn't think he went through a rigorous audition process for Wonka. I think they kind of just took a look at him and went, yep, sure, he'll do. So, I don't know, man.
Wow.
Is it time that we begin our discussions of the
God.
opera?
I just love how excited you are and how much I'm not. I'm not
I
excited.
know. Okay, well, to be fair, there's some shit in here that you don't know about that I do, and I get to keep that
Exactly.
to myself. There's a
Felicia
fucking
said that-
twist in the final song.
Felicia said there's a twist at the end, and I was like, is there? Like, I took some guesses. That's the other fun thing. I put some guesses out there, predictions, if you will. So, but I was like, what's the twist?
You will not believe the twist when we get there.
So-
So first, I want to give us some background about this. I don't know if you know I read this, but Elaine, recently I read the book Inside Charlie's Chocolate Factory, which is a 200-page deep dive into the history of literally everything Wonka. We will be doing an episode on the full book shortly, but I thought it made more sense to pull out the section on the opera and talk about it here, because it actually gave a lot of good info about it. So the idea was first suggested in 1997, but it took 13 years for the work to actually premiere. The composer was Peter Ash, and the writer was Donald Sturrock, who is also a biographer of Roald Dahl. It opened at the Opera Theater of St. Louis, Missouri, and the American Lyric Theater. It was called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory during a score preview, but it was a marketing misstep because people showed up expecting a stage production of the 71 musical and were very surprised what they ended up with. And Sturrock said there was quite an exodus at the interval and requests for refunds, which is wild.
Wow. Damn. I'm not
But the production was made as a way to introduce children to opera, which I can see that. And the amount
Okay.
of budget put behind that makes a lot more sense. Because this had such a fucking insane budget. When reading the stage directions, I'm like, what money do you have? Anyway, so, but since that was its goal, it was actually commissioned by the American Lyric Theater. Like, they paid for it to get made, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
anyway.
Interesting.
Apparently, the Chocolate River's introduction is accompanied by musical echoes of Das Rheingold, the first of Wagner's spring cycle around the Rhine River. So it pulls in a lot of old operatic stuff and shit. I'm like, I don't know what that means, but they liked it because the four bad children neatly fit into the various operatic stereotypes. So Augustus Gloop was a fat Italian tenor. Violet was the coloratura soprano, known as high maintenance. Veruca Salt's a mezzo soprano, and Mike T.B. is a Baroque style countertenor. So this is kind of unrelated, but I do want to say this is something we have said for forever. There are difficulties with adapting Dahl, and this was actually from the musical writer David Greer. He had a conversation with Dennis Kelly, who wrote the Matilda musical. One of them said, I hate Roald Dahl because he just made it up, because it just meant he was telling his own story night by night, so he didn't need to know where he was going, and when he started, as long as it held together moment by moment. But you realize as you work on it for a different medium, there's a reason traditional narrative and structure exists. It will carry you through a 2-hour show without dropping. And I was... And I was like, thank you. This is what I've been saying for forever, that the narrative structure of Roald Dahl's work don't do very well when you transfer them to other media. But then the same guy said, no matter how long it went on, no matter how many times the process mattered me, it was a genuine pleasure working on. It's juicy and meaty. This is a random fact I wrote here. The grandparents are double cast as the parents of the factory children, which I thought was smart and interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So... let's start with Act 1. Elaine, what were your first impressions of this first song? I just want to hear it from you.
All caps, strong timpani presence, bitch. Because it starts off and you hear that. And I was like, ha! So I really liked it. And then, so again, I know nothing. I wrote, I'm assuming Oompa Loompas are singing in the beginning.
No.
Bassoon is bopping for his life. I have no idea what is being sung, and I have no lyrics. Plucky. Mischievous. And then I'm imagining the Oompa Loompas are moving around the factory doing normal things with tricks like flipping. I started writing down all the instruments I was hearing for no reason. But flute, oboe, piccolo, trumpets, trombone, xylophone, strings. Next note, I am bored. This is my next note. Timestamp 250. Bring it, oboe. And for background, I used to play oboe, so I'm very fond of it. And then I heard the lyrics. Nobody goes in, nobody goes out, and I'm pretty sure they don't actually have a Tinkerman in there, but I lost my fucking mind and just decided Tinkerman got a nice big song out of it. And then it finally occurred to me, oh, that voice I'm hearing is a little boy singing. I didn't fully understand it was Charlie at first. So that was good. This is way too dramatic. And then I think I must have been trying to recreate something they sing where it goes, ooh.
So I can tell you what that is because I know what you're talking about. It's a reoccurring motif. So it's described as mwah by the score, and that is the yawning of the grandparents.
Oh, okay.
But that's at the end of the song. So let me tell you about the song.
Yeah,
here's the most important thing. You're never going to fucking guess what is singing this first number, Wayne, because at the beginning of it says, an early winter evening, the curtain rises to reveal a deserted side street in front of a high stone wall. See, I had all this context. The wall is reminiscent of a great medieval Gothic cathedral and is surmounted by strange gargoyles. Their faces by turns mischievous and also potentially sinister. Elaine, this entire song is sung by gargoyles. This is what I'm talking about. This is why I've been wanting to talk about this. Because what the fuck? So they're the most important thing you need to know. There are gargoyles that sing on Wonka's factory gates, and they're who do the opening song with Mr. No, who is Wonka in disguise as a store owner. Okay, so then built into one of the buttresses is a tiny forgotten chocolate shop. On its dusty window, a known confectioner is inscribed eccentrically in worn-out Victorian writing. On a newspaper stand outside the shop, a poster reads, 2 golden tickets won. So they start you in media. Like
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
They skip all this opening shit. And it's the pacing of this first act, I genuinely think the opera is the best paced first act of Wonka. And I'm not joking. It's way better.
Oh my God.
It would be way better if they throw us in. So my notes here were, it's very Dies Irae. It starts with a haunting chorus of Oompa Loompa. Then the gargoyles sing no swazwangers, no hornswogglers, no wangdoodles, please. Then it turns into no children. And the gargoyles bring the factory to life with colored smoke and stuff as the scene in the score stage. I was seen in the score stage direction. I was kind of bummed we can't watch this for real because it sounds cool.
I was gonna say, I see now what you mean by how the fuck did they get that budget? Because what the fuck?
What the fuck is the budget? And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning, Elaine. There's some maniacal laughing from them. Charlie, according to the stage notes, enters, is oblivious to the gargoyles, and the gargoyles, upon seeing him, sing, "Who is the strange boy? Who knows where he goes?" Charlie asks Mr. No who won the third ticket, and you know what? I just like how they throw us in. It's effective. And Wonka says, I don't know. Oh, they'll be on television tonight, I guess. And that's word for word. He sings that, which is wild. And Charlie asks a bunch of questions about Wonka, and we get a good nobody ever comes in, nobody ever comes out. And Wonka's like, why do you ask so many questions? And Charlie's like, I might win a ticket, so that's why. And then the gargoyle chorus laughs at him. And then there are the noises at the end of the mwah, and that's the grandparents
I had a bullet point go, a laugh at the end? And I didn't know why there would be a laugh. I was like, what is fucking going on? So all I picked up was that someone told Charlie about the factory, and then Charlie was just asking too many questions. Yeah. Is what I had gotten from that entire scene. I missed all of that. Woof. Gargoyles? Wow.
Gargoyles. There's no way for you to have known about the gargoyles because like who would have guessed? Who would have fucking guessed? But
okay, so I'm changing my opinion immediately. The fact that we have gargoyles, I like this 50% more, which I was at 0. So now we're at 50. Winning me over.
So second song, Pale Green Blues.
Oh.
Do you have thoughts about Pale Green Blues?
I have bullet points for everything. Pale Green Blues. Here's what I gathered. Grandpa Joe and Charlie are singing to each other because they keep going, Grandpa Joe, Charlie.
Also, can we say Grandpa Joe is a
Charlie.
tenor? Really surprised me.
Yes.
It was weird. I was like,
It was
whoa.
it was interesting, but I was like able to keep up with it. This was the song where I was like, okay, this is a little less like boring and like
Can we talk about the thing? I've never really listened to opera. Can we talk about the thing that opera does where it has a nice jaunty tune going for about 20 seconds and then it goes back to a funeral dirge?
Yes. Yeah.
They're like,
I was like,
"Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba." And now I will go to my bedroom. And it's like,
And they-
come on.
repeat the same thing over and over again, which is what drove me to insanity.
Yeah.
So
We're not opera people.
we're not opera people. I listen to Phantom of the Opera. It's not the same. Fucking TV so much so far at the beginning of this opera, and nothing has fucking happened. Again, Gargoyles would have totally changed this, but all I've gathered is that Charlie wants to watch fucking TV and these bitches are eating cabbage. And so in my mind, I'm like, we're doing the slowest version of this fucking like,
Meanwhile,
plot.
you don't know 3 people have already won golden tickets and you're like,
Exactly. So, and then at the end, I was like, is this called Pale Green Blues because they're sad about their fucking cabbage soup? Jesus fucking Christ.
Yes.
So,
yes.
which I'm glad I got that, because again, they
You
sing
got
about
that.
cabbage soup a lot. So that's what I thought was happening.
So this is the intro to the scene. A small cold room in a small cold house on the outskirts of a wintry city. One door leads onto the street, another to a small bedroom in the back. On the broken down stove, a huge pot of simmering cabbage soup. Its foul smell wafts through the theater. Huh? Wait, there's smells? Okay, Charlie's grandparents, Grandpa Joe, Grandma Josephine, Grandpa George, and Grandma Georgina are all asleep in the same bed. Grandpa Joe and Grandma Josephine in one bed, Grandpa George and Grandma Georgina at the other. The snoring grandparents snuggle up to one another and dream of food. Now notice one thing, Charlie's parents are not present. He is the sole caretaker of these grandparents in this version.
I was wondering.
So these were my
shit.
notes. So he has to make all the grandparents food, so it's just him. Anyway, this is your classic sleepy grandparents count your blessings once a year chocolate tradition song. I feel like I've heard 4 of them in my life now. They sing chocolate a lot. Grandpa Joe's a tenor, which is weird. And then it turns into a jaunty song about cabbage soup. The lyrics being cabbage soup, a cow come key, oh so healthy, but it smells like pee. That is the real lyrics. And then later in the song, they establish it gives them gastric reflux when they eat it too fast.
Yeah, I have cabbage soup, count it past something. Give us gas, a Gucci guy I-O. And then I have like 5 question
that
marks
was
after
it,
that.
pretty
so
much.
It was, opera you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, and now here is one of the biggest departures. Grandpa Joe gets out of bed and does a little dance with Charlie.
Is it a big deal? Or is it just like, yeah, of course he got up?
Of course he got up. That's Grandpa Joe. He does his little dance with Charlie. What a departure. And they said,
wow.
This is a stupid thing we don't need to spend time on. And I agree with them.
You know what? That's fair. It's fair. You're winning me over. I'm understanding. I do think we spent too much time talking about cabbage soup, but I understand we're setting up that he's like the only caretaker, but I'm really fucking over Charlie being like, TV. It's like, shut up.
Yeah, so he wants to watch TV to see who won the next golden ticket. So then you get to the next song, Countdown to Battle. What did you think this song was about?
I didn't understand until probably like a quarter of the way through that Mike TV was singing. And oh my God, that might be my favorite iteration of Mike TV because the way he sings in this, it's giving like Cowardly Lion vibes from Wizard of Oz, but like make it high pitch, make it so high pitch, like those like rubber chicken toys. Like that is exactly what it is, but it's so funny. And then I said, like, I think it was like 2 minutes in, I was like, okay, this is now my favorite song. I would pay money to see this scene. At one point I'm like, is he singing data? And then I realized at the end that it was an interview and that he had won the first ticket in my mind, which I thought was wild. But he was not the first person. He would then be the 4th person?
Yes.
3rd? 4th person?
It makes sense when you read the things and have the context I have.
Which
yeah, so this is the stage notes. Continuous. In a television studio, Candy Mallow, the network's most popular newscaster, and Candy Mallow is an important fucking character in this version, so get ready for that.
Oh, that's
prepares for the
hilarious.
start of her live show, Omphalos.
Wow.
A floor manager counts her down to transmission. Beside him is Mike TV, a boy of 13 dressed in combat uniform. He has a toy machine gun slung over his shoulder. Candy Mallow calls him Mikey TV, which is wild. And Candy Mallow is a fascinating performance in this. She says chocolate in a very specific way and as instructed by the score to be intense. So that's fun. She asks Mike TV how he feels, and he says, and I quote, "Cool, babies, plug me in, wicked," but sang in an opera. And that's wild. When I heard him say "cool, so babies," funny. I had to like pause and stare at the wall for a minute. And she asked if he's dreaming, if he's dreamt of meeting Willy Wonka. He says, "I don't dream. I watch TV." So that was cool. And the song is basically him singing danger, battle, and action a lot. So that's what you were getting data from.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because I did not pick up on Army Nerd Mike TV. I was getting the like hacker vibe.
Yeah, you were going for the Broadway. So
that
he
definitely
has the whole,
fits a different vibe.
Yeah, so he has the whole thing, and he says that nothing excites him more. The one thing that excites him more than all the bloodshed and gore is all-out thermonuclear war. And he does this while waving a gun at the camera.
Nice.
And then he gets escorted off set and pulls a wire on a light and its fuse bursts. So that's what happened in the song.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Because also you have to, like, I was looking at the song lyric, the title of this song, Countdown to Battle. And I was like, well, this is really fucking dramatic for like the little TV boy who just loves data. Wow. Anyway, one of my faves, I will say. One of my faves.
So the next song is Veruca Loses Her Nut.
Okay.
Tell me what you thought.
I had to pause for a whole minute and double check and see if I could find the track list and double check that the YouTube shuffle hadn't gone wrong, because I thought there's no way that this can be the next song. Like, plot-wise, this doesn't make sense. And I'm not about... And I was like, I am not about to listen to this out of order and get fucked up on this fucking stupid opera. So I had a moment. And then here we go. I have 5 bullet points. Okay, I'm enjoying this one, kinda. Strong opera soprano and the child is, "Daddy, I want one," is a wild juxtaposition, because she would be singing like very like, "Oh, I'm very opera. Daddy, I want one," which I highly enjoyed. Opera fighting is fun, so I guess I thought there was a fight happening.
They are kind of arguing.
Yeah. And so this is like her talking to her dad, and basically she's like really wanting the golden ticket. And I'm like, okay, I know this song and dance. We're with it. And then I believe, because I was hearing background noises of like crinkling and stuff. So I was like, okay, I think the factory workers are now buying, like they have all these chocolate bars. They're like opening them. And now we're officially in Les Mis when they're in the beginning and Fantine is going through her opening of the chocolate. That's how I felt. So
you got it. I mean, that's pretty accurate.
Hell yeah.
So this is the note. It's at the executive offices of Salty Sweeties. So continuous. Veruca Salt, age 10, and her father, the billionaire confectioner. Wait, so he's also a candy maker. Crazy.
Oh.
Lord Salt are watching Omphalos on a large television screen in the plush corporate office of Salty Sweeties. Veruca switches the set off angrily. So they have her watching Mike TV's interview, which sets her off into doing this, which I think pacing-wise is really good.
We've never thought about the kids pre-thinking about the other kids.
Like, interact with each other way more.
Yeah, like
it's
actually knowing each other.
So much more interesting. It's basically I Want It Now, but an opera song. She says if she doesn't get a ticket, she'll die. And she basically essentially says to her dad, "You have the money, do it, bitch." Which is cool. And then it shows the worker they hired, and they start singing along about how much they hate opening their bars and how much they're going to be sick of chocolate. And then she just goes, "I hate you, daddy," which I didn't really get, but it's fine.
Wild.
So the next song is Fit or Fat. What did you think happened in this song?
So I thought the mom was singing about how her son wanted a golden ticket. And then I was hearing a lot of wrestling, so I assumed that Augustus was eating. Again, I didn't know if this was an interview or just a scene. And then suddenly out of nowhere, I was so confused. Quote, "How charming. I want to be a movie star. I shall perform." And I was like, who the fuck is this? Is this Augustus's mom? Or is this Augustus somehow singing? "You have Gussie's appetite. Don't call me Gussie." And I fucking love Augustus's Gussie. I love this Augustus Gloop as Gussie. I think I stand Gussie is what I wrote next.
Yeah, I love Gussie.
Also, strong timpani presence throughout this entire song, which made
Yeah.
me very happy. And then I tried to write some of the lyrics I thought I was hearing, mostly to make sure that I could like pay attention, because sometimes my mind wanders. I'm just in general not good at picking up on lyrics.
I
so,
understand.
one I tried to write. Oh, the fat on my tummy bulging. I am born the sensation I get in my throat when the bit of something hits something. My lips have the curious job of something, toffees and sweeties that get stuck in between my teeth when I suck in my daily ration.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
So that's weird. That we can agree that's weird, right? That's a
it
weird
is
thing
weird.
to say.
This song was weird, but I appreciate what it did. It had all the weird Augustus shit, like the unfortunate fat phobia that's just like in everything with Augustus. That like we just it's gonna be there. But what it did pacing wise is fascinating, because you're not ready for this, Elaine. Continuous. In the next television studio, Augustus Gloop, a very fat boy, is eating chocolates out of a large box. Next to him is Violet Beauregard, a precocious girl dressed in a striking leotard. She chews gum constantly. Both are around 12 years old. Candy Mallow sits opposite them. They are mid-interview. And putting them together is definitely interesting, and it does speed up this first part. Violet has an inexplicable accent that is flitting between Southern American, British Cockney, and something else undetermined.
Violet sings
Almost
in this?
German.
Violet
Yes.
is in the scene? Whoa.
She's the movie star. That's what she wants.
That's
Violet's dad convinced her to eat chocolate, and her dad said the ticket was golden like her destiny. So Violet wants to be a movie star, so they turned the gum thing into her way of avoiding eating to get like the perfect movie star body, like disordered eating kind of thing.
Okay, I'm remembering
so then
this.
she spends the song trying to convince Augustus to go on a diet.
Oh.
So she is the fit and he is the fat, and that's why it's called Fit or Fat.
Oh. Well,
yeah, he has Augustus has a whole monologue about how people calling him Augustus is mad because people keep calling him Gussie. He has a whole monologue about how much he loves food, and then they make him pass out from exhaustion, which I was like, okay. And then Veruca has a big note at the end, and it's calling Augustus fat. And I was like, okay, cool, awesome, I love this.
Love that. That's great.
This is what it's gonna happen. Justice for Augustus.
Justice for Augustus. Augustus Gloop, leave him alone, you fruit-eating poop mouse.
So, what do you think was happening in Dreams and Ambitions?
This pissed me off so much. So, I have so many notes on this one. So, first off,
which is wild because it was like the shortest song in the show.
I had so many feelings about it. So first off, I at first thought that this started with an English horn, which is basically a fancy oboe. And I got so excited. So I said, English horn beach. But then my next note is, could be a bassoon. And then, oh man, I think it's a bassoon. God damn it. And so I got pissed again. I went through a lot of emotions. Okay. And this is me trying to figure out what's going on.
It was a bassoon in the score.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, damn it. It's a bassoon. Because it got a little like sassy at the end. I was like, no, the English horn does not get sassy. It is not a sassy little girl. Okay, here we go. Some opera lady is singing about wanting a golden ticket like every other fucking bitch in this place. Charlie is now singing about his foursome grandparents sleeping and what are their dreams and plans. LOL, bro. They're like 2 sneezes away from death. They ain't planning shit. We haven't had this perspective before where Charlie is more in depth, thinks wow, I did not write that well. Basically, I made the note of we haven't really had an interaction of Charlie thinking about his grandparents so intently in their future, which now that you've told me he is their sole caretaker, this makes a lot more sense because I didn't understand why the fuck we gave a shit about this plot-wise, but now I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
And I do want you to say, what he was transitioning that into was he was pondering about if they felt the same way like he did when they were children, which is deep for a 9-year-old.
Shit. This is when I decided that we have many Wonkas in this universe, and we don't really talk too much about the different Charlies in this universe because we haven't really cared, you know. But I decided this is Charles Bucket. Golden Ticket Charlie Bucket is Charles Bucket. And I refer to him as Charles for the rest of my notes. So I was like, Charles had some beautiful notes. And then for some reason, we're back to Veruca screeching about a golden ticket. I don't care how the fuck these scenes are overlapping with each other, but goddamn. And then I start making wild theories because I don't know who's fully singing in all these parts. So I'm like, unless the mom of Charles Bucket is evil in this version, which damn, I would love that. And then I was like, ah, shit, no, it's Veruca. But I love the idea of the mom being like evil because again, you told me there's a twist, and I'm like, oh, this has to be the twist. And then at the very end, it sounded like Veruca punched her dad, and I was like, she probably slammed a door, but also the sound, I was like, did she punch her dad? And I got excited. So that's what I gathered from that.
So you got it, was Veruca. So Veruca is alone by her bed in her father's office. A light comes up on her. She's looking into her mirror and applying quantities of face cream. So she does a little villain monologue. Yeah, I know. I was like, okay. She does a little villain monologue about wanting a ticket so bad, and then it goes to Charlie with his grandparents, which I just appreciate the way that they actually intermeshed the kids' different stories.
Yes.
So it wasn't just like this one kid does a number and then they disappear. It was really interesting having Veruca basically act as this foil to Charlie throughout this. I thought that was interesting and well done. So Charlie muses about his grandparents' memories, dreams, and ambitions, and whether or not they are happy. So that's wild. And then Charlie talks about how he imagines fantasy worlds and stuff, worlds where nobody says no, which is funny to take out of context. And then he gets excited because he can fly, ? But I will say, probably the most interesting Charlie song listening wise.
Yes.
Like if I had to listen to one of these,
that.
This is the most interesting by far.
Yeah. This actually, I mean, I wrote the most notes about it because I was most fascinated by the plot.
It's pretty good song. Like it's pretty good.
It was nice.
It's opera, so it's like not a song, but it is a song, you know? They're singing, but is it a song? Then there's an instrumental segment here called Night to Dawn. Do you have any notes about Night to Dawn? Because nothing happens. Okay,
because I was like, so interlude, which, you know, whatever, probably a bathroom break or shit like that. But I was like, fucking slap a violin on those high notes. And then in my mind, I was like, oh, well, there must be things happening on the stage. So I imagine it's nighttime and we're watching Charles Bucket have restless leg syndrome in a weird dream where he gets a golden ticket, like a premonition. That's what I wrote.
I don't know if that's what happened because there were no scene directions, but I'm going to say yes, that is what happens.
Perfect.
So the next song is Happy Birthday, Charlie. I feel like you could probably get this one via context clues.
Fucking hated this song. It pissed me off so badly. Charlie's late for class, apparently. I don't give a shit. Everyone's telling him it's his birthday. And the way they say it, they sing it, Charles' birth. It's his birthday. Why the fuck did we split that up? It's Charlie's birth was like a pregnant pause. Why did they do that? Because
they were waiting for Grandpa George to wake up and he was asleep. And he couldn't finish the line.
Well, that's funny. Okay, well, that makes more sense. And then I thought, and then I honestly, I was like, is he opening chocolate? This is the sad moment. I don't know. And then at one point they were singing Happy Birthday. And I was like, oh my God, they got the rights to sing Happy Birthday?
It's actually in the public domain.
Well, it is now, but was it when they wrote it? Because I wasn't sure if when they wrote this.
Do you think they're going to get on their ass for the golden ticket opera?
That's true. That's fair. Anyway, so I hated that song.
So according to the scene directions, the Buckets have a large railway clock on their wall. So that's cool. What was the budget? I just want to know what the budget was.
What was the budget?
Grandpa George is asleep the whole time. The grandpas pull out little candles, which is very cute. All the grandparents do, not just the grandpas. Bar doesn't have anything in it. We know this. Then they just sing Happy Birthday as normal. I will say the harmonies on Happy Birthday were lovely. They kind of annoyed me, but they were well done. The next song is Chocolate Geniuses. I don't know what you would make of this song if you weren't reading it.
Genuinely so lost. I was so fucking lost. I this was the point where I was like, I looked up and I looked around me at all the people sipping their coffees and reading books and working on like probably, you know, school papers and stuff. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Here are my notes. The song starts with mouth helicopter stuff like whatever. Which I didn't understand why. And then I had originally thought the music in the very beginning. I think it was
because the gargoyles were cold. It's very cold and it's winter time.
Again? Oh my God, this is Gargoyles again. Well, this is fucked up because we have the similar music we had in the beginning where the Gargoyles originally showed up, which I kind of described as like folklore Russian village song. And then I believe Charlie is opening his chocolate bar. I just kept trying to guess. I was like, when is this fucker? And then at some fucking point, I think he's talking to Grandpa Joe about making a chocolate egg and hoping that it's round. And he wants an egg. And they go back and forth about the egg is round. And he's like, yes, the egg is round and has speckles. And it's like, can we keep the speckles on the round egg? And I was like, is he creating chocolate? Like, what the actual fuck is going on? And I was so lost and very angry at this point.
So let me enlighten you. This takes place outside of Mr. No's candy shop, aka Wonka. Gargoyles are back. I had a question here. Does Wonka take orders from them or them from Wonka? Because when they're demanding no children, no hornswogglers, no smallswangers, is that a him decree or are they decreeing that and he has to abide? Many questions. Charlie's bummed about not winning the ticket, so they start collabing on a cool chocolate invention, him and Mr. No / Wonka.
Oh.
So that's where they come up with the glow-in-the-dark bird's eggs that fizzes up and then it burns up your mouth. It's a classic. It's the bird in your mouth.
Totally missed that.
And Mr. No's like, we should go into business together. Give Wonka some competition. That's the song.
Wow. Okay. Well, I got hung up on the eggs.
Yeah, you got... It was weird because they were like, a round thing, an egg. Yes, an egg. No, not an egg. But what if it was an egg? And I was like, please, move on from the fucking speckled egg. Please.
Anything.
And I knew what was going on, and I was like, Jesus, please. Anyway.
Yeah.
It was a lot. Veruca's ticket.
The dad announces he's now bankrupt, which I thought was hilarious.
Yes.
And I swear to God, I thought I was hearing whipping sounds, and I was like, is Veruca just assaulting everyone? I just was like, what the fuck is she doing? And then I believe there were only 2 tickets left, and her dad is scared because Veruca is scary and getting like angry and apparently whipping everybody. So those were my takeaways.
Lord Salt and Veruca stand watching the exhausted factory workers. The counter on the wall is going much more slowly. So yeah, Veruca's dad goes bankrupt. The worker who eventually gets the ticket kind of holds it hostage from Veruca for a bit. She gets it. I think this was my favorite song in the show. It was good.
That.
I liked it. It was very intense. So now here's the thing. Candy Mallow from the TV show calls them, and Veruca sings, "Tell her I don't do interviews," which is funny. But then Candy makes a business proposition, which is not revealed. And then Veruca turns to her dad and says, "I love you." What? We get more information about this later.
Well, that's wild.
Charlie's heart stands still.
My first bullet point was, I might have missed a song. LOL, I got distracted. Because the way the YouTube shuffle, like the songs blend into each other because it's an opera. And then for a moment I got scared. I was like, did I miss a song? And I was like, you know what? I don't care if I did. I'm going to move on. I only have 2 more bullet points. A lot of candy unwrapping, I think. Okay, I guess he got the ticket.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's all I got third.
Charlie's heart stands still. A lot fucking happens in this because most of it is on stage, so you would have no fucking clue.
Yeah, I had no idea.
So this is taking place outside of Mr. Snow's sweet shop outside the Mr. No sweet shop outside the gates of the factory. Snow is swirling. A fierce wind blows. Icicles hang from the shop, but a warm glow emanates from its windows. There's no one around. In the window, the flyer now reads, "Only 1 ticket left to win." Now, this stage direction blew me away. 3 children, Herpes Trout, Miranda Grope, and Marvin Prune, run into the sweet shop. They brought in the fucking deleted characters. And I was like, we are the only people who appreciate a Herpes Trout reference.
Whoa.
Herpes Trout. Herpes Trout.
Herpes Trout had his big debut.
And Herpes Trout fucking sings in the next song, and we'll get to that.
What?
They push Charlie into the snow and laugh at him, so they're bullies. But they drop some money, and he uses that to get the bar. So he buys a bar, and he opens it. And there's no celebratory getting a golden ticket song. He just holds the ticket up, and the lighting changes to show it. And then we're outside the factory gates. And I think pacing-wise is a very interesting choice.
Yeah.
I just think this is the most unique paced first act I've seen. The structure of it is very different, and I kind of appreciate it. I wish I could watch it. Because I feel like I'd like it a lot more.
I wish I could watch it too, I will say.
I know on YouTube that we were listening to this on, A Wonka Welcome and Wonka's aria are broken up. A Wonka Welcome is the whole song. Like both of them are A Wonka Welcome in the score. So my notes aren't separated, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
But tell me what you got from A Wonka Welcome, because that is important to talk about first.
Off to a great start. Lots of trombones. We love a good trombone. I gather they can't find the last kid who got the ticket. So no one knows that Charlie got the ticket. And everyone's like, where's the last ticket? And then at 3:36 timestamp, this sounds like Notre Dame, the Disney movie. And you know what? It's probably when the Gargoyles popped up. I was onto something, and that's all I got from a Wonka Welcome. So
Yeah, these songs, this song of Wonka Welcome and Wonka's Aria combined were like 14 minutes long, so there was a lot happening here. Outside the great gates of Wonka's factory, it is just before 10 a.m. The snowstorm has given way to a brilliant winter morning. A crowd is gathering. Candy Mallow arrives with her cameraman. Children and parents swirl hither and thither. Tither? Is it tither or thither? Hither and thither? Okay. Looking for the best place from which to watch the action. Prominent among them are Mrs. Trout and her son, Herpes. Augustus Gloop arrives. Also, the phrase Mrs. Trout and her son, Herpes is so funny.
That's wild.
Augustus Gloop arrives with his extremely fat mother, Mrs. Gloop. Violet Beauregard and her father, Mr. Beauregard, are followed by Mike TV and his nervous mother, Mrs. TV. They are shepherded by a TV production assistant. All are wearing their Sunday best clothes and look uncomfortable apart from Mike TV, who is in combat gear. Candy Mallow goes over them. In a furtive conversation with Veruca, she gives her a small camera. The jealous children are fascinated and horrified by the winners. Sorry. A lot of the singing in the first song is about how it's his first appearance in 20 years.
Did not
like they're saying it's the first time Wonka's been in public for 2 decades and shit like that. But I wrote it's Wonka's first public appearance in 20 minutes. I love that for me.
Oh, man.
So yeah, a lot is happening here. Candy Mallow functions as the Slugworth of this musical, of this opera, which is interesting, essentially.
Okay.
So the deleted chapter kids get some singing here about how they wish they won the tickets. That was like Herpes Trout was being like, I wish I had won. I would have loved it. And Veruca, upon seeing Charlie, sings, he's a skinny little shrimp.
Whoa.
They took that straight out of the book. So now I want to hear your thoughts about the Wonka song. I feel like we should work back and forth on this a little bit because I have a lot of notes and this is where the big twist is.
Yeah, so you stop me once, because I'm not going to know plot-wise when we hit that point. So you stop me when I start saying something. So Willy Wonka starts us off with all the horns. I got the quote, I'm a sorcerer. I'm the magician. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, okay.
He's got
I'm
magic
gonna stop
powers.
you. I need to tell you how the fuck he enters.
Please.
What was the budget? An extraordinary hot air balloon sails gently over the wall. Underneath it, suspended in a large black bubble which lands in the middle of the crowd, Willy Wonka, elaborately clad in a cloak and top hat, emerges from it. What?
What? What the fuck?
Yeah, so as you were saying, him talking about the sorcerer, he introduces himself and he says, yes, it's me, Willy Wonka. He says he's a sorcerer, a magician, the great, the magnificent, a scientist, a weaver of chocolate spells, creator of sugary secrets, the mysterious, the unknown. That takes like 2 minutes.
Okay, that fits a lot more, because I was like, it's a little bold just to walk out a door and be like, I'm a sorcerer, I'm a magician. But if
no,
I guess
he
if
came
you do
down
shit
in
like
a
that,
bubble a la Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes smart sense. Okay. Okay, so next portion I was able to write about, he's very much like, my factory's top secret. Absolutely no cameras. And then for some reason Wonka yelps. And I don't know why.
Yeah, he's very unhinged, which the camera thing is important because Candy Mallow is given Veruca a small camera.
Oh. Okay.
Does that make sense? Like that
wow.
It does make more sense than the whole Everlasting Gobstoppers thing. Than just like this newspaper who'll pay her a lot of money to get.
Yes.
That checks out, you know? So, yeah, but this Wonka does have the unhinged quality. He's like a baritone, but he's a little wild.
And we know baritones are unhinged. Am I right?
We know baritones are fucking crazy.
You know who
they go nut.
They go nut. What are you even on?
It's a Kendall Roy from Succession quote, and I want to use it more. And every time I say it, it sounds unnatural.
Well, I'm going to go nut. I'm about to go nut on these Cheetos.
Folks, I'm off my nut.
The next part. Man, do I have wild theories. Wonka, for like 3 minutes straight, is asking everyone to close their eyes and imagine shit.
Yes.
The lyrics I have, it's like a leaf that's still in the curd, question mark. I have no idea what anyone is saying. What the fuck is Wonka doing while everyone is closing their eyes? He goes, let me do something the world has never seen. Magic lies here in your ass. So in my mind, I was like, is he drugging them or is he hypnotizing him?
Honestly, unclear what he's doing here.
I was like, so because they're closing their eyes for like 3 minutes, you know, that's a long time to ask someone to close their eyes, and you're hearing things shift, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, he says the factory is dangerous, but you'll be safe if you listen to him and not get overexcited. And he makes them promise not to do this. So that's more than any other Wonka does. Yeah. So then he encouraged his imagination for a few minutes, like it's like a seminar. How it brings light to darkness and is like an uncurled leaf. Uncurled leaf.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Uncurled versus on the curd makes, yeah, okay. I see where I went wrong. That's fair.
I wrote here 3 minutes 40 seconds is a good timestamp for podcast reasons. Okay. And this was giving me Phantom of the Opera at certain points. He kept singing "Close Your Eyes," and I was like, let your spirit start to soar.
Yes,
but that didn't happen, and I was bummed. And the notes were pretty close too. So he was just like closing their eyes to tell them to think about imagination. So I want you to talk about the rest of your song, the rest of your things, because like I don't even know. The rest of my notes are fucking batshit.
Yeah, I only have 5 more bullet points after this because
give me those because then you get the plot twist.
Yes. Okay. So hear me out. I'm trying to guess what the plot twist is at this moment, and like the song is nearing the end, and I'm like, I don't fucking know what's happening. So at timestamp 5 minutes 36, he asks everyone to open their eyes, and I'm like, okay, but I have no idea what the hell is happening. And then he says, yes, my factory is alive, and he has no control over it, essentially.
This is the plot twist.
So I did get that. Okay,
yeah.
Solid.
He says, I will tell you one more thing. Yes, my factory is alive. Alive! And you're like, what the fuck? And he says, it thinks things, it does things. Even I am sometimes surprised. What?
Yes. Okay, yeah.
What?
Which I like that. I think that makes a lot more sense.
But that is such a huge change.
He doesn't even have control over it. And I was like, shit, okay. I'm glad I picked that up because I was very unsure, but I was like,
I'm kind of disappointed I wasn't able to break the news to you, but I'm also glad you picked it up. So
yes, I wasn't completely horribly lost, which at least is
I
good.
lost my fucking mind when I was like, what? Hold on. Excuse me. What? Like, what do you mean your factory's alive? Also, I love this, like, and I have one more thing to tell you. It's like a casual, like, add-on.
Yeah, he's like, my factory is alive. I was like, what?
By the way, just in case you were wondering, what are the rest of your notes? Tell me.
Charlie sings, I wish this day could go on forever. And I'm like, shut up, you kiss ass. And then, again, I'm thinking the Oompa Loompas are the evil ones this whole time. I think they're the ones who are doing the spooky things. And I'm assuming this is actually the Gargoyles now, but I wrote sinister ending. Oompa Loompas go, why has he done this? And I was like, oh, an uprising? And I got spooked. But I'm assuming that's
why
the
has he done this
Gargoyles.
ending is even more fucking insane when you learn about the visuals that are happening.
Oh.
So after Wonka's singing all about how his factory's alive, everyone gets enveloped in a strange light and sings about how weird they feel.
Oh.
Are they getting abducted by aliens? What the fuck is going on? A strange light, and they feel weird. Smoke pours from the gates. The onstage crowd are terrified, and it pushes them out into the wings. At 8 minutes, I wrote there's a great Wonka Watch breakdown music. I think they were just singing Wonka a lot. Wonka leads his 10 guests inside the factory. A deep orange light begins to get brighter and brighter, lighting up everything with a fiery glow. Charlie then sings, I wish this day could go on forever. I will say, I think this is the best song consisting of just singing Wonka's name a bunch of times. The gates are now fully open and have forced the divided crowd into the wings. Wonka and the ticket winners are on their own downstage center. And then the Oompa Loompa Gargoyle chorus, because apparently they are the same, maybe. I don't know if they're the same casting-wise or they are the same, unclear. Hauntingly sing, why has he done this? There is a great flash of light and a hole opens in the earth. Blackout. What? Scusi? What are you talking about?
What?
What do you mean? What do you mean a hole opens in the earth and the factory's alive and they get sucked up by a strange light?
What? I'm so intrigued and scared to figure out where this is gonna fucking go from here.
What the fuck is going to
Because
happen
now
from now
it
on?
suggests that maybe Wonka isn't the one setting up the demise of these kids. It's them against the factory and whoever the
It
factory
feels like some sort of
accepts,
fucking
you know?
sacrifice.
Yes.
It's fucking weird. What is happening?
the Gargoyles.
Like, This is, I think, genuinely one of the scarier Wonka adaptations because the implications behind that entire number, I'm like, what? Huh? What? What do you mean? A hole opens in the earth. That's not a trapdoor. That's the fucking earth. And I know his factory's built underground and whatever, but like, the earth? See, the question is he the most or is he the most or least powerful Wonka? Is he the most powerful because he can open the fucking earth and do all this weird shit, or is he merely a pawn? And I think he's a pawn.
Yes,
That's the thing. I think he's a pawn.
I think he's the person in the horror video game that lets you onto the island and gets you in the mansion and then secretly tries to run away because now they've offered the replacement and the cycle now gets to continue where that new person has to find somebody to replace them is the vibe I'm getting now. Creepy.
It's just like in the Santa Claus.
It's just like the Santa Claus.
And I would know because I was in that movie.
You were. Oh man, you did such a great job too.
Anyway, wow. So do you see why I was losing my fucking mind to talk about this?
Yes. Also, really quick, I think we should clarify. You weren't actually in the Santa Claus. You just look a lot like the kid who plays Curtis.
I just look a lot like Spencer Breslin, who plays Curtis.
God,
I was not in the Santa Claus. I think. When did the first Santa Claus come out?
Oh God, you probably weren't born. You definitely weren't born. That was 90s. I'm pretty sure 2000.
Yep.
I was born the year it came out, and then the second one came out a year before you were born. And then the third one came out and you were probably 3.
Yeah, I was his stunt double.
Jesus Christ. You were his stunt double? This little infant, they were like, throw her like a loaf of bread.
Yeah,
you were a stunt double for a brick on set.
I was a stunt double for a doll on set. Anyway.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I think this is one of the most interesting adaptations of Wonka we've seen. I was not expecting to get this much out of it, and I am genuinely, like, kind of excited to see what the second act holds, because I was dreading it. I did not want to watch this fucking opera. But then when I got to them doing this stuff, and then as soon as I heard Wonka say my factory is alive, I was like, this is fucking nuts. This is
definitely
nuts.
gives me hope. As I've said throughout this whole thing, not a huge fan, not enjoying it. Now that I know what's happening, okay, I'm in.
Do you think you want to read the score next time so you enjoy yourself, or do you want to go in blind again?
Maybe, you know what I'll do? I won't do it the whole time, but if I'm genuinely lost and have absolutely no idea what's happening in a song, I'll probably pop in. So
it makes sense.
Might do something like that just so I have a better understanding, but I did enjoy for the first round not knowing what the fuck was going on. So now that I do, I think it'll be helpful to hear it. But what a way to do it. What a way to do it. So many predictions that can come from this, I feel like. God,
sorry. They have a whole plot synopsis, and I skipped ahead a little bit just to see some things that happen in the next act. Fucking nuts. Nuts,
oh boy.
Man.
Ooh, nuts. Nuts, like squirrels who might be sorting nuts. Squirrel back.
I'll tell you this. It's not in a sorting room. They're in a bazaar. I don't know, man. That's what I just read, and I was like, I want to see I was talking to my mom about this because I was like, I listened to this opera and I need to tell this to someone else, and she said, I feel like Act 2 is going to really let you down, and I'm like, no, and I just read that it will not let me down.
Oh God!
So take that, Mom.
Yeah, Mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
predictions for this have really. I mean, there were so many instruments, and I feel like I have not predicted clarinet yet. And what I'm going to say is there is not a strong clarinet. Have I said that? Have I said there's not a strong clarinet presence? I think I have.
Hold on. Let me open up my Excel spreadsheet and let me find the clarinet and let me see.
I think I've said clarinet before.
Let me consult the documents. You have not made a prediction about clarinet.
Fuck yeah. I'm going to say there's not a strong clarinet presence. If there's a whole song with a fucking man on the street playing his clarinet, I'm going to be so pissed. I'm not a clarinet fan. I'll put it out there. I'm not a clarinet fan. You want to know why? Why do I keep saying fan? I'm not a clarinet fan. It's because I played the oboe. I was closer friends with the flutes, I suppose. But clarinet is just a lazy oboe. That's what I believe.
I am going to make a prediction. Hot air balloon.
Nice.
We
solid.
have the dirigible.
Oh,
we just have now
yeah.
also added hot air balloon. There was a hot air balloon in Paddington, wasn't there?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
into
there
it.
was.
It vibes. I could totally
there was
see
a
an
hot air
escape
balloon
scene.
in this.
If there's
Yeah.
we know there's a boat, so it makes sense that they escape in a hot air balloon and people are in the boat and they're like, God damn. I love it.
Yeah, it could happen. It could happen. How many modes of transportation will Wonka take? That's a prediction.
Is there a unicycle at some point? Ooh.
We know he rides on top of a truck. Does he ride in a truck? Is he on a boat? We've made a lot of predictions about him being on boats.
God, you know what?
Because he's on a pier.
I would lose my fucking mind if they had a troubadour in this. I would lose it.
Am I looking up what a troubadour is?
It's like the person who is kind of like the narrator throughout, but they change characters. But
Oh,
they sing a little bit.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't think they'll have a troubadour.
Probably not, but I just enjoy. Cute.
I want to wrap up the episode because I
Yes.
very badly have to poop.
I have to
apparently.
eat. I haven't eaten yet.
Oh,
So I'm
no.
excited.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to this
Opposites.
episode of Wonka Watch. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Wonka Watch. If you enjoyed it, you can, I hope you would. You can check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Wonka Watch, and you can send us emails with all of your fun goodies at wonkaraptor@gmail.com. We also always take support, and you can give us that support monetarily at buymeacoffee.com/Wonka Watch, and we'll make you a little song.
It's delightful.
That's it, right?
Yep, that's it. And at the end of the day, even though the factory is alive and there's so much violence happening,
It's not that important.
Is it important?
It's not that important.
Is it round?
Important.
It's not important.
Important. Bye, everybody.
Bye.